A judge publicly humiliated a royal guard during a routine court hearing, only to find himself in handcuffs when his behavior crossed the line. The silent serviceman's unexpected response left the entire courtroom stunned. Lieutenant Nicholas Blackwood, a member of the Queen's Guard, arrived at Westminster Crown Court in his full ceremonial uniform to serve as a witness in a burglary case. His presence turned heads, as it was unusual to see a soldier in full regalia in court. At 6 feet 2 inches, his imposing figure was further accentuated by his bearskin cap. Though he hadn't planned to be there that day, a last-minute request required his immediate presence. Having already provided a statement months ago, he expected to simply confirm his account and return to duty at Buckingham Palace. Upon entering the courtroom, Blackwood took a seat in the public gallery. His rigid military posture and striking uniform drew attention. Presiding over the case was Judge Victor Harrington, a man known for his sharp tongue and intolerance for what he deemed inefficiency. His reputation for belittling those he considered beneath him was well established. As the hearing commenced, the judge's gaze kept drifting towards Blackwood, his displeasure evident. He abruptly halted proceedings, turning his attention to the lieutenant. "You there, in the costume," he addressed Blackwood, his voice laced with disdain. "Explain your choice of attire in my courtroom." Blackwood stood and introduced himself with military precision, explaining that he was on active duty and scheduled for ceremonial service immediately after the hearing. Harrington scoffed, dismissing the necessity of his uniform, calling it a mere tourist attraction. He continued to mock the ceremonial role of the Queen's Guard, questioning whether their duties extended beyond marching in straight lines and standing still. Though his comments were met with discomfort from those in the room, Blackwood remained composed. He responded respectfully, outlining the rigorous training and combat experience of his regiment. The exchange escalated when Harrington mocked Blackwood's medals, implying they were mere participation awards. Blackwood calmly clarified their significance, one awarded for evacuating civilians under fire, the other for defusing an explosive device at a school. This revelation silenced the room, with veterans in the gallery exchanging knowing glances. Harrington, however, only grew more irate, accusing Blackwood of insolence and questioning his ability to think independently after years of following orders. He declared Blackwood in contempt of court, his reasoning vague and unjustified. When the prosecutor objected, Harrington threatened to hold him in contempt as well. Despite the escalating tension, Blackwood remained poised, citing legal precedent that required clear evidence of contempt. His precise legal knowledge only infuriated Harrington further. In a moment of unchecked rage, the judge hurled his gavel at Blackwood. A collective gasp filled the courtroom. In a swift, fluid motion, Blackwood caught the gavel mid-air. The silence that followed was deafening. Recovering from his own shock, Blackwood calmly stated that striking a member of the armed forces was a criminal offense. He placed the gavel on a nearby table and removed his bearskin cap for the first time, revealing a closely cropped military cut. Then, to the astonishment of all present, he introduced himself not just as a soldier, but as a trained barrister who had served with the Judge Advocate General's Corps after earning a first-class law degree from Oxford. He had maintained his legal credentials alongside his military service. The realization hit Harrington like a hammer. He hadn't been demeaning a simple ceremonial guard, but a highly educated officer with extensive legal expertise. Blackwood proceeded to outline the judge's multiple violations of judicial conduct and criminal law, citing specific legal codes. Security personnel, now aware of the gravity of the situation, moved toward the bench. The court recorder, who had transcribed the entire exchange, confirmed the events. Judge Elizabeth Chamberlain, Chief Magistrate, arrived after being alerted to the commotion. Upon reviewing the transcript, she immediately relieved Harrington of his duties, pending a full investigation. Witnesses, including retired military officers in the gallery, stepped forward to provide statements confirming Harrington's assault and misconduct. As he was escorted from the courtroom, his career hung in the balance. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Blackwood remained unshaken. With permission, he left to report for duty at Buckingham Palace. As he took his post, tourists admired his uniform, oblivious to the extraordinary events of his morning. Back at Westminster Crown Court, the Morrison case was reassigned, and the judicial misconduct investigation began. By evening, more individuals came forward with accounts of Harrington's past behavior, further sealing his fate. News of the incident spread quickly through legal circles. Meanwhile, at Queen's Guard headquarters, Blackwood's superior officers received a report of his courtroom conduct. Instead of reprimand, he received a commendation, maintained dignity of the regiment while upholding principles of justice. The story served as a reminder that true strength isn't about shouting the loudest or holding the highest position. It's about maintaining composure while standing up for what's right. The judge had mocked Blackwood based on his appearance, failing to see the discipline, intelligence, and integrity behind the uniform. Ironically, it was the very qualities the judge dismissed that ultimately exposed his own failings.